So, Your Excellency, it is an honor for all of us, the Team Europe, the European Union family here in Lusaka, to meet you on the occasion of the Partnership Dialogue. Also very happy that my colleague from the European Commission could also join this mission. We would like to start by thanking Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs for yesterday for co-chairing the dialogue with me, and also there were a number of cabinet ministers who were present at the time, and I think we agreed that we had a very substantial dialogue, a discussion at a strategic level in which we discussed about the priorities of our partnership. And at the end of the meeting, I think we could conclude that we have a positive story to tell about the EU-Zambian relations. So we went through a number of issues of common interest, and if you allow me, Mr. President, just some highlights of this discussion. The first conclusion was to reiterate our alignment on the defense of the principles of the UN Charter, and certainly on occasion, specifically in the current geopolitical context, to signal how much we highly value Zambia's support in the multilateral context. We also exchanged on shared commitment to democratic governments. We heard from your ministers on the progress that is being made in legislative and governance reforms, their implementation. There was a very lively exchange in that point. On our side, we pleaded for an inclusive and participatory process that will allow the Zambians to feel the ownership of the consolidation of democratic governments. We also talked about the regional aspects. We recalled that we are marking the 25th anniversary of the EU-African Union partnership. Minister Aimbe is most welcome in Brussels later in May, and hopefully you, Mr. President, will be able to participate in the EU-EU Summit later this year. We praised the effort of Zambia and yours personally, Mr. President, for leading the debate in the region, for convening Africa partners to discuss global reforms, for hosting the LDC Future Forum, as also for the work that you are doing as a co-facilitator of the Fourth International Conference on Financing for Development in Seville in July. And we are, of course, very much looking forward to continuing to work in this regard. We also heard from Minister Aimbe the state of play in the region. We talked about the situation in eastern DRC, northern Mozambique, the cooperation with the SADC, your role in COMESA. And then, of course, the bulk of the conversation was very much about the EU-Zambia relations. And as you will know, we are marking the 50 years of our partnership. And we concluded that over these years there has been a tangible impact of this relationship on what regards our political relations, human rights, access to justice, economic development, access to services, improved infrastructure, people-to-people contacts as well. But we also concluded that it's important that we have a vision for the future and that we have to revitalize and strengthen our strategic partnership to new levels, namely going beyond what was the traditional development cooperation and ripe the benefits of a strong economic partnership, namely through the Global Gateway Initiative. And your Minister of Finance was also very clear in passing this message to us. We have been and we are the first development partner of Zambia. We will remain strongly engaged. That's also the message that we want to share with you today. As you know, now in this current financial framework, 2021-2027, we are providing 500 million euros in grants, and in the coming years, another 153 million euros are earmarked for new programs in energy, water, transport, critical raw materials, education, access to Zambia. And also, of course, the member states have their own programs, their own bilateral support that is very significant. Because of this going beyond the traditional partnership and in moving into this economic partnership, we talked a lot about attracting private investments and about how to match the EU grants with private sector investment, and about the conditions that need to be there for the European private investors to enhance their presence in a Zambian market. So the relevance of enhancing local value addition, benefiting local communities, developing skills, business opportunities, creating quality jobs was something that came back a number of times during our discussion. Of course, very much our wish to contribute to a sustainable growth, to work together on transparent regulatory and governance frameworks and access to funding. We spoke very candidly about issues that are also important in this context of attracting business, and notably the efforts that you are making in what regards the fight against corruption, the need to reinforce coherence and transparency on regulations, and again the issues relating to qualifying your workforce better. There was a very lively exchange on issues relating to the investments that we are doing in the strategic corridors, the Lobito corridor, the North-South corridor, the rehabilitation of Zambia and the railways, also the strategic partnerships that we have on critical raw materials, and also the partnership on forestry. And if you allow, I will then ask my colleague Enrico Lollet to complement. Last but not least, Mr. President, we also shared our concern on the recent environmental catastrophe on the Kafue River, and we also agreed to continue that discussion since the relevant ministers were not present at the partnership dialogue. So overall, I think it was a very frank discussion. I think that we went very deep into the detail of the different issues. I think your minister in the end very much put the emphasis on the need to implement what we talked about, so the implementation being of course key in all this, and so very much our commitment to indeed now work on the follow-up of this partnership and to continue to engage with you in the years to come. So if you would allow, Mr. President, we would just have a few highlights on the issues relating to the Global Gateway.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And once again, very good morning, Mr. President. As Ms. Larraña already has explained, the partnership dialogue was rich in substance and very lively exchange, which surely helped us to deepen and widen our cooperation. I would like to say a few words about the cooperation and partnership agenda that we are implementing under the Global Gateway strategy, which has been also the overarching strategy for our cooperation over the last years and continues to be so also in the future. I know that we will have more time afterwards to go much more into the details, so I will be very telegraphic and also a bit repetitive. I think first and foremost the area of connectivity, which has been in the very heart of our cooperation. We have been working on a number of corridors, as was already said. I think this time we have also had the opportunity to drill deeper into the next phases in relation to the Lobito corridor, and I'm also looking forward for the discussion afterwards on this topic, which has been an extremely important topic, I know for you, Mr. President, but also for Zambia and for the region more generally. And I think that we have a very good understanding how to move forward. Secondly, I would also like to mention again, another topic which is, I know, very important for you, namely the upgrade and rehabilitation of the Zambia railways. It is going to be a long and challenging road, or rather I should say track, to move. But I think that we have found also a common understanding, and the last week has given us the opportunity also to discuss with you how we can go forward and how we can phase the different aspects in relation to the Zambia railways rehabilitation. I can only here and now confirm that the EU is fully committed in this process, as it is, of course, in relation to the Lobito corridor. I'd also like to mention in relation to the connectivity aviation, where we have managed to make significant progress on safety, but it remains also the key link for the development of Zambia's tourism. One of the areas which has, over the last years, became very much in the center of our agenda is the critical raw materials. We have made significant progress by signing the partnership, the strategic partnership, Zambia being one of the 14 countries who are formally our strategic partners. We also have the Memorandum of Understanding, the roadmap which we are implementing and which allows us in this area to create new opportunities. And I would also like to mention, of course, energy sector. A sector which is critical for your country, where you have suffered a lot over the last years because of the drought, which has also affected your economy and managed to, unfortunately, also lower your economic development. But I'm sure that the worst is behind and your countermeasures are definitely helpful. But a very important milestone was last Friday when we initiated the Zambia-Tanzania electricity interconnector, which of course will add the opportunities for energy exports and imports in the future when it is completed. And lastly, I would like to mention also the overall business environment. Again, I'm sure we might have the opportunity to go deeper on that, but a predictable market-friendly policy environment is what is very much needed, as well as the increased interest from the EU side to invest, which also means to promote the investment opportunities. And I think one good way to achieve it is through the Sustainable Investment Facilitation Agreement that your government has shown interest to start negotiating and which is now being assessed in Brussels. But it is also another step that can allow us to take our partnership into the next level. And as you well remember, Mr. President, last week, the same time, we also shared the same podium, and I think that we covered a number of those topics, and we have used this week from last Thursday, including and in particular through the partnership dialogue, to move ahead with all these topics, which we can go more in details afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, before you take the floor, perhaps I'll just ask the Minister to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you very much to the Managing Director and the delegation. Mr. President, let me begin perhaps by also confirming that we had a very lively dialogue in the usual fashion of our friendly relations with the EU, our partners. But I think this year we even went a step further because of the intricate nature of the matters that were discussed. and the direction taken towards having practical solutions to matters of mutual concern to both the EU and ourselves as Zambia. So I would like to thank as well, Mr. President, if you allow me, the Managing Director and the team for the dialogue which was held in a very good environment and which was certainly positive in its outcome. Thank you very much, MD. Your Excellency, Mr. President, I would also like to confirm really the matters that our colleagues have already outlined as the key highlights of the dialogue. I think from our end, some of the areas that we emphasized have got to do with our shared values with the EU, amongst those that were already mentioned, and our strategic partners. We reaffirmed from the perspective of governance the commitment that we have as a country towards maintaining our efforts at observing the rule of law, at putting our democratic credentials ahead so that we remain like-minded with our partners. I think it's an important base which we re-emphasized, Mr. President, amongst the other issues that we discussed. Mr. President, also in appreciating the 50 years of the relationship between the EU and Zambia, we emphasized that the strategic partnership can only grow from strength to strength through these various interventions and through the heightened interest that the EU has shown in Zambia as a strategic partner on the African continent. We emphasize, Mr. President, that we do not take that attention and the interest that is being shown for granted, and that we'll equally play our part as partners to meet the expectations of our colleagues and also to meet our own expectations as a people and our aspirations, the aspirations of your government, Mr. President, and of course your direct vision that you have shown in the various steps that have been taken in the partnership. Mr. President, the other emphasis, as already alluded to by the Managing Director, Her Excellency, was on the shift that would want to see towards a movement to partnership on equal basis and a drive towards the private sector participating more effectively in the country. And of course, that would then mean that we'll have to create or enhance the environment in which the private sector can participate. So we did make a commitment on behalf of the government and the people of Zambia that we will put in place and continue to put in place measures to create that or at least enhance that environment. The other point, Mr. President, as I wind up very quickly in briefing, was the acknowledgement by the EU of the good work that has been done in the debt restructuring environment in very difficult circumstances. We equally acknowledged the support that we received from the EU and member states, France amongst them, Mr. President, and the importance of the process being reaching its logical conclusion. Your Excellency, I think I would probably end there in terms of the highlights of the discussions and the sort of giving an overview of how the entire dialogue took place. Again, to re-emphasize that we have put in place the building blocks, and now we want to set the implementation criteria. And of course, we did acknowledge, Mr. President, the need for us to have a matrix of actions to be taken going forward. And of course, the importance of the meetings to take place in Brussels in May and subsequently at presidential level, at summit level. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Managing Director for Africa, EU, responsible for Africa, and your team. I do notice in the team you have a diversified group, including those that are with us here, and the diplomats that live with us here, but also you have those that are credited to Zambia but live outside Zambia or work from outside Zambia, and our technical colleagues that work with us. So you're all welcome here, truly welcome here. And I want to acknowledge the Minister and the team, our team decide. Let me join you first and foremost in celebrating our 50 years of partnership, which really have gone through lots of things, lots of projects, activities. I do remember as a young graduate, undergraduate, after graduating, used to do work for the EU projects in this country. So it's been a long, long relationship, partnership, and we celebrate all the things that we've done together. Over the years, successive leaders in Europe, leaders in our country, we have been able to work together for such a long time. And I think this is a good building block for us to continue deepening our relationship, our cooperation going forward. And the meeting we had, Land-Linked Zambia, which we had a very good interface with my colleague seated next to you, Managing Director. Very, very appreciative as a country. And we know we had also visitors from other parts of Africa attending that meeting. And now the dialogue, the EU-Zambia dialogue, which you have summarized ably, and the Minister has added on to that, and obviously supplemented by our colleagues seated next to you, are all appreciated. And I think they're building blocks to what we need to do. And I must say at this stage that the dramatic changes that are taking place to the global geopolitics are important to us as a country. And we are looking at how we reposition ourselves and to take account of the changes that have happened in the partnership, the global multilateralism, the partnerships that have been going on for years, I must say since 1945, if I may go back to that period, and our own celebrating, the relationship we're celebrating. So we would like to contextualize those changes and want to work with the EU in a deeper way because of these changes taking place. I think it's an opportunity for the EU bloc, for the individual members of the EU, to deepen what you and us do together. And I also want to acknowledge that, yes, the traditional ways of working together have been successful, but I like the alteration of those relationships, maybe not to the stoppage of what we've been doing, but to add emphasis on economic cooperation, investments, trade. And obviously to do that, we need to be clear that we have sectors that are important to us and believe important to you. The critical minerals, you've already touched on that. We would like to see a clear, if you like, articulation of how we are going to work together in that area. I know we have started doing that, but we want to see, my sins of the past tells me that to grow the economy, which is our agenda, we need to see transactions, we need to see investments in the critical mineral sector. What exactly do we want to do with each other and for mutual benefits in the critical minerals space, and to be able to move quickly in that space. To be able to exploit the critical minerals for mutual benefit, for value addition that we expect, because they can add to the economic growth agenda that we have, we need the energy sector to move quickly. I think it's very important that we zero in also on the energy sector. The infrastructure, the higher level framework that we've been working together to be used as a basis to now dive down to get transactions in the energy sector. Because without energy, we cannot really exploit as much the critical minerals in the manner we desire to. And so energy drives the economy, drives the sectors, including in the mining space. And we would like to see your businesses investing more in these sectors, and to do that at a faster pace. We do understand the bureaucratic rigidities that still afflict us. These are legacy issues, and we have to address them in an organized way, and that's why the President has set up the Presidential Delivery Unit. So if that can be seen to be one of our efforts to deal with the rigidities, to deal with the slowness of the system. And this thing has been going on, the civil service has been structured this way for many, many years. And with 3.5 years plus in office, we know that this is not an event to change the way the civil service works. It's a process. And we would like to work together in how quickly we can come around. But from where I sit, the Presidential Delivery Unit is personally meant to help address those rigidities. Also, the Public-Private Dialogue Forum that we have brought in, we have seen the two working together, private sector, domestic, but also to be able to facilitate the investments we expect from your regional bloc, the EU and your individual member countries. So I would like to invite you, the colleagues, especially those that are based here, to utilize the PDU and the PPDF platforms as much as possible so that we can move faster. You want to move fast? We want to move fast. I think we are aligned there. So the issue is that let's get it done. And when things don't move, I think there's a way to escalate them very quickly. So again, let's use the opportunity for escalation that are there. I do believe, and the President himself is taking a personal agenda, because I'm an involved President. I'm not an observer President myself. I get engaged, as you saw in the debt restructuring, which we thank you so much for. I got involved directly, as you know, saw in the mining sector restoration, taking litigation out of the table, bringing mines to the table that had 11-year litigation history, out of commission, some of them 23 years, some of them 46 years. We've been able to bring them back into, if you like, mining activity in 3.5 years plus. It's because we are doing it intentionally, because it fits our agenda for growth. So I want to suggest that we get to that level working together, and so we can unravel things that take time. We know on your side you're a big group, you have your processes, and we encourage you to expedite your processes as you encourage us to expedite our own rigidities here. I think let's just, if I may say, work to get things done. I must step aside and indicate, come back to the sector, so the critical minerals, mining, the energy. Tourism is very important to us. It's shown resilience in the last difficult year, 2024. Part of the GDP growth of 4% came from tourism. Yes, the mining sector added growth to it in a very, very energy-starved economy. And we want to accelerate that growth, but tourism important to us. That's why, Managing Director, we took measures, for example, to remove visa fees. And we've seen the impact, together with other measures. We've seen the impact, and we would like really to continue working together with yourselves in that area. If I may extend to something I'm passionate about, because without it we have what we may call a national insecurity. That is food security. The effect of the drought to our food security is evident. Yes, energy, but food security is evident. And we want to attract investments from your end to work together on corporate agriculture. Yes, small, medium-scale agriculture, but corporate agriculture focusing on irrigation agriculture, so that the climate change, ravages, if I may say that, can be mitigated by us focusing on irrigation agriculture, water harvesting for irrigation agriculture, which will assure certainty of food security for ourselves, plus the region. Some countries in the region do largely depend on, amongst other countries, Zambia, to provide them with food. So we are very keen on these areas. Of course, you have already raised some of the issues that are important. We can't drive this agenda without infrastructure. And so we appreciate your support. on the infrastructure side, the roads, the decision you have made to work with us on Mwinilunga-Ijimbe Road is very well appreciated as part of the Lobito corridor. But Zambia Railways is extremely important to us. Again, thank you for your positive decision on Zambia Railways. And if I may look at Zambia's land-linked conversation we had last week, really, I mean, the Walvis Bay corridor passes through here, Beira corridor through here, Nakala corridor through here, Tazara corridor through here, Lobito corridor through here. So this is the country that cannot afford to have a Zambia Railways which is dysfunctional, because otherwise it will slow down all these movements as we get to do the ports area for our colleagues, the border areas. You heard me talk about a non-stop border post, given our digital technological development. Surely we should not be priding ourselves a one-stop border post. We should be talking about a non-stop border post, so we can improve efficiencies, we can lower the cost of doing business. But this is the country really to look at in a very, very, if you like, a deliberate way. And I'm saying this, Managing Director, to encourage the team here, to encourage your business houses back home to look at investing here. And the way I would like us to do it is that if we have a project, there's an opportunity, one of your country businesses has, let's put it on the table clearly. We have a mechanism now to walk it through, so that is, if you have projects that have been installed, I would like to have a checklist of those projects. And we do a summation of those, and we start tackling them, because their resolution, if you like, helps to deepen our partnership. I want to end there to say, I would like to see things happen in these sectors we've talked about, in other sectors we may have not touched. We welcome investments from the EU bloc. I said it when I came to present at the EU Parliament. Early into my tenure, I do not shift from that position. I believe firmly so that Zambia is ready for business. We've demonstrated that. In 3.5 years plus, we inherited a very difficult environment of debt, distress. With your support, we've made progress. We inherited COVID environment globally. Third, we got afflicted by the worst drought in living memory. So our 3.5 years plus have been riddled with 3 major calamities: debt, COVID, drought. But I think we've shown our resilience. We've shown our resilience. Now is the time to take off. And we would like to work with you in that space, to grow together, so we can ameliorate some of the changes that are taking place. And I end where I started, with the global geopolitics. We have a traditional, historical relationship with the EU bloc, goes back to many years. And I think let's exploit that. But speed is important. Speed is important on both sides. Managing Director, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. With your permission, I will